Welcome to a quick guide on what all the different traits in Elder Scrolls Online do. I'm Miss Bizz, and I'm hoping to make your crafting journey a bit more clear in ESO. So first off, what are traits? Traits are something that you add to an item that adds a passive effect to the item it's on. There's no active ability or effect, it doesn't need recharging, it's just always on. Here you can see my chess piece has the Infused trait, and my staff here has the Precise trait. Items can be crafted with a trait, or looted items may already have them. A trait must be added during the crafting process and cannot be added or changed once the item exists. In order to craft an item with a trait, you must have researched the trait for that specific weapon type or armor. If you'd like to learn more about how to research items, why else you want to research items, be sure to check out my guide on that. So traits are found on armor, weapons, and jewelry. First, I'll go through all the traits you can actually put on items yourself if you have them researched. I'm going to take a look through armor first. First up, we have Sturdy. This trait reduces the cost of block and uses quartz. Next up, we have Impenetrable. This trait reduces the durability damage taken from the item. In addition, it also reduces the damage taken from critical hits. To craft an item with this, you'll need a diamond. Something good to know is that the NPC mobs cannot critically hit, so you don't really care for this in PvE, but it's definitely a good thing to have in PvP. Reinforced. This trait increases your armor and uses a sardonyx. It's pretty straightforward. Well fitted. This trait actually reduces the cost of roll dodge and sprint. You'll need an almandine stone to craft something with this. Training trait increases all experience gain from all kills by a certain percentage and uses an emerald. And yes, this does count towards XP, towards earning champion points. Infused. This trait increases your armor enchantment effect. So when you put a glyph or a enchantment on this piece of armor, for example, this one we're looking at right now, it's going to be 8% better. That makes your enchantments way stronger. Prosperous. This one might be good to have if you're feeling a little broke. This trait increases all gold gain from monster kills, and you need a garnet to craft items with this. Divines. This increases your Mundus stone effects and uses a sapphire stone. This is also a really great trait to have, and if you don't think a Mundus stone does much, make sure you pay attention to your character sheet the next time you go and grab one. Nirnhoned increases physical and spell resistance by a flat value, so it's pretty easy to see how much you're going to get out of it. Fortified Nirncrux is needed to craft an item with this, and just so you know, this trait stone can only be found while harvesting resource nodes in Craiglorn. Next up, we're going to take a look at all the different traits that you can add to all the weapons in the game. I'm just showing you, of course, on a bow right now, but the trait does the same thing no matter what weapon it's on. First up, we have Powered. This increases your healing done by a certain percentage, and it uses a chiselite stone. This trait increases your chance to apply status effects such as burning or chilled, so it pairs really well with a destruction staff. The trait stone needed for it is amethyst. The Precise trait increases your weapon and spell critical by a certain percentage. This is really good if you want to be getting over that 50% mark. Infused. This trait increases your weapon enchantment effect, plus reduces the cooldown on your enchantment. So not only will your weapon enchantment be stronger, there's also a secret not shown cooldown on weapon enchantment procs, which I believe is 4 seconds. This is going to reduce that cooldown to give your enchantment more often proccing, meaning you're gonna do that special effect more. The stone needed for this is jade. Defending increases your physical and spell resistance by flat values. You'll notice that this is actually the same type of effect you'll find on Nirnhoned armor, but your values are a lot higher here. That's because you're giving up the chance to be putting something that's damaging and help you with your DPS on your weapon instead. But this is the defending trait, and it uses a turquoise stone to craft. Trading increases all experience gained from all kills by a percentage, and it uses the carnelian stone. Yes, of course, this also works towards gaining champion points. Sharpened increases your physical penetration and spell penetration by flat values. What this means is when you're fighting a person or a mob that has armor, or maybe they have spell resist on them, you're going to be able to penetrate through it and do more damage to them with this trait. This one uses a fire opal trait stone. Decisive is a really interesting trait. It actually grants you a chance at gaining additional ultimate whenever you gain ultimate normally. So if you don't understand how ultimate is gained, anytime you use like a light or a heavy attack and then you do damage afterwards, you have this like wonderful little buff that allows you to gain ultimate in there. So make sure you're doing lots of little light attacks, have this on your bar, and start gaining ultimate. This will actually use the citrine stone. Nirnhoned is also available for on weapons, and this increases the damage of your weapon. Just flat out more damage. You'll need potent Nirncrux to add Nirnhoned to a weapon, and unlike the other common traits around here, Nirncrux is only available from harvesting resource nodes in Craiglorn, or, of course, buying from other players. Something to keep in mind when I'm showing off these values on Champion 160 gear, I was showing it all off on white crafted materials. Just so you know, your traits, like you can see here, actually get better as you upgrade the item. This includes if it has a trait on a dropped item. If you increase the quality of the item, the trait is probably going to get stronger. Here you can see that sturdy would go up 0.5% just by going to fine, and believe me, it keeps going up. Like I mentioned earlier, jewelry also has traits, but since we don't have jewelry crafting in Elder Scrolls Online, at least not yet, you kind of just have to take what you're given. There's only a couple different traits on jewelry, and they're really simple, and you'll understand what they are right away. First up, we have Healthy. That one increases your maximum health. Next up, we have Robust. It increases your maximum stamina. And last but not least, we have Arcane, which increases your max magicka. You can also find the Ornate trait on jewelry, and that just makes it sell more for vendors. The last thing I'm going to cover is that there are some looted items in the world that have traits that you can't craft these. They're only on things that get looted or dropped in the world. The first one we have is Intricate. This will increase inspiration, which is your crafting experience, gained from deconstruction of this item. So if you have a character you're trying to level up their crafting, definitely send all your intricate items to them, and don't bother deconstructing these on an already maxed out character. Also, you gain additional refined material upon deconstruction. If you only have maxed out characters, that might be a good reason to deconstruct this on them. Then we have the Ornate trait. I mentioned this back on jewelry. Ornate items sells to NPC vendors for more gold than an equal item without this trait would. Of course, you don't really want to sell this on guild stores. It only sells for more gold to the actual NPCs, the non-player characters. So, wouldn't be trying to sell too much of those to other players. This is all the traits available in ESO. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you left a like or comment if you have any questions. If you subscribe, you'll get notified of all the other great ESO guides I make. Bye for now.